People like to name drop Uncle Bob and how they've read clean code, cover to cover, during a code review. Now, reading this book is a great first step. But what's the next step? Well, in this episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about what that next step is. That's becoming a clean code advocate and how you can transform your team into a clean code team. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 3, how to become a senior software engineer. So we're finally going to get into some of the good material, I like to call it. The stuff that really is going to make you become passionate about the code you are going to write. And that starts with Uncle Bob's Clean Code, aka Robert C. Martin. Never heard of the guy. Heard of Uncle Bob though, I'm sure you have. So what is Clean Code? If you haven't read Clean Code, basically it's become kind of a, not manifesto, but a reference book. Not really a Bible, more of an instruction manual, you would say, on how to elevate the code that you write. It's real simple. The book focuses on writing simple, readable, tested code that follows solid principles. So for those who haven't read Clean Code, what is the best way to tackle this book? Well, my advice is simple. Take it one chapter at a time. Now, obviously everybody reads a book a chapter at a time. What I mean is take it one chapter at a time and apply what you learn to what you're currently doing. What I would normally do is I would read a chapter over lunch and usually finish it that evening, and then literally the next day I was in my code applying what I learned. So like an example would be, let's say you just finished reading about the newspaper metaphor in chapter 5. Rearrange your class using the newspaper metaphor. And then when you're done, in your commit log, put Uncle Bob, Clean Code, chapter 5, newspaper metaphor, this is why I rearrange stuff. Or just something kind of like that. And what you're doing is you're beginning to leave breadcrumbs for your team. So why did I mention breadcrumbs? Well, like we said, in order to become a clean code advocate, you've got to get the entire team to adopt a clean code culture. So you start dropping these breadcrumbs on what you're learning. You basically are becoming a consistent advertiser of clean code. So you've been dropping these breadcrumbs to your team. What next? Well, the next step is probably the most important one, and it's what I call the sacrificial code review. Now, what I mean by this is that you've got to take some code that you wrote, get it up to a code review in front of your team, and you basically have to murder your own code, and in a good way. So the way I did it with my team the very first time is I took some code that I knew just wasn't really done right. It was done quick and dirty, you would say. So rather than go back and refactor it and apply clean code and everything I learned about, I decided, let's make this a learning example for the team. So I put it up on the projector, I had my team look at it, and they were kind of like, yeah, I could see we could do some things better here. So what I started doing was I started using reference points from clean code and applying it to the code, making it better step by step, asking for their opinion, if they agreed, if they disagreed. Pretty much they went with everything that I said and mentioned, hey, these are great talking points from the Clean Code book. I think I really need to pick that up. Now, that sacrificial code review might not be the only one. You might have to do several. I found that if you do usually about 2, maybe 3, you can start to get your team to want to actually volunteer their own code. Now, I'm not talking about like you have a problem where your team's not doing code reviews. What I'm talking about is your team finding code of theirs that they feel like, hey, you took Uncle Bob's Clean Code principles and applied it to your code, and it looks night and day different. Why don't we grab this little bit of logic that I wrote a couple sprints ago and let's apply clean code to it as a team. Boom. Now you've got one person hooked. Now you just got to get the rest hooked. So You did your sacrificial code review. You got a teammate kind of jumping on the bandwagon with you. What next? Well, keep going after the rest of the teammates. Try to get them to want to apply clean code to their code. Start just bringing it up in conversation, stand up every day. Maybe even after you read a chapter the day before, the next day at stand up, give a quick 20-second thing of what you read. So the last little bit about becoming the advocate is kind of this whole part of you becoming more of the senior person on the team, a senior person in your organization, seen as a leader by leadership. And that is getting the entire team to adopt clean code. You write the best code, you go to your review, leadership's there for the demo, and they hear you talk about clean code. Okay, if they know about it, they might say, hey, good job. But then all of a sudden, they go into another demo a couple weeks later, and they hear a totally different team talk about it. And they reference that they picked up some tricks from you, from your team. That is what being a leader is about. It's not about how great you are, but it's about how great you can make those around you become, and how you can not only elevate yourself, but elevate everyone else around you. So that's kind of my take on becoming a clean code advocate. There's not a set game plan. I just wanted to share some tips with you guys about how I did it. Take a sacrificial code review, start talking about clean code every day, start getting your team to want to adopt clean code principles, and start spreading that thought to the rest of your organization. Hope you guys like this. Let me know down in the comments below. And again, don't forget to hit the like button if you like this. I'm okay, give me a dislike if you didn't like it. Hit subscribe and then turn on notifications so you know whenever the next video drops. See you guys in the next video.